Oh, Mrs. Levine. No, I couldn't do it. Jake is home. Yeah, he's got a liver sausage stomach and he's staying home from the office to get a day from rest. And you know when Jake is sick, you gotta wait on him hand and foot. Some other time, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, you call me and I'll come over. Mrs. Levine, how's your husband? You don't say. Yeah. Some night maybe you'll come over, yeah? All right. Goodbye.
Well, Mama, was that Sam? Did he call me?
Now, if he calls you, I'll tell you. Now, lay down, huh?
Oh, that's all. I'll lay down.
Jake?
What do you want?
Are you asleep?
No.
You're sure you're not asleep?
Mama, if it'll help you any, I'll swear to you.
Well, how do you feel, Jake?
I don't feel so good.
It's that liver sausage. Don't worry. If you're not better in an hour, we'll call the doctor.
Doctors we don't need.
It's always best to have a doctor. Mrs. Harris told me only last month that the people who live right next door to her on 138th Street last year had a cousin in Boston. A man who was never sick a day in his life. Would you believe what happened?
So what happened?
One day he came home. He complained he had in his stomach a slight indigestion. He was smart, too. He didn't call a doctor. 2 days later, they buried him.
But what had they been eating?
What difference does it make? They buried him.
Didn't they know what he was eating?
How did they know what he was eating? It could have been liverwurst.
Oh, Mama, I'm beginning to feel very sick.
Jake, what you worrying about? What's a little pain in the stomach? Should I call the doctor?
No, Mama. I don't like a doctor. They always want to cut.
If a doctor cuts, he has to cut.
Yeah, but I don't like operations.
Jake, today in the hospital, you get the best from care. It ain't like it used to be. You get flowers, visitors, jelly.
Mama, you know something? I'm starting to feel better.
Aye, that's the voice sign.
Huh?
If you have to have a operation, you have to have a operation. What can you do?
Mama, you've already got me in the hospital being operated on.
I got you. The doctor's got you.
The doctor... Mama, give me my shoes.
Are you going to the hospital?
No. I'm going to the store.
He's a dying man and he talks about the store.
Give me my coat.
Jake, be careful and don't go to the store. Listen
I tell
to me.
you, Mama, for the last time, I'm all right.
Jake, listen.
Goodbye.
Hello. Oh, hello, Sam. No, he just left for the store. Did Fishbean of Atlanta come in? No? Well, anyway, he left for the store. Yes, Sam, he feels much better. There's nothing as good as a quiet rest at home.
Well, here's Mama Bloom's Brood. In the Bloom living room, we find Mama and the two girls. They're discussing a newfound friend of Papa's, and Yetta says,
That's a nice-looking man Papa's with tonight.
I should say he is.
Did you notice the suit he had on?
Fitted him like a glove, didn't it?
Yeah, and that ring on his little finger. Wasn't that gorgeous?
I bet it was 4 carats.
Yeah, and that diamond he had in his tie was no slouch either.
I think that stone was bigger than the ring, even.
Oh, I don't. I think the ring was bigger, don't you, Ma?
I didn't like his eyes.
What's the matter with his eyes?
When he talks to you, he looks someplace else. Such a kind of fellow I don't like.
Well, now, I don't see why you don't like him. He raved about everything we had for dinner. He told you yours was the best cooking he ever tasted.
He wants to do business with Papa. He has to like mine cooking.
What does he want with Papa?
What do you think he wants? Money.
How do you know?
Anytime a man is extra nice, he wants something.
But he said it was a great chance for Papa.
When you're giving away bargains, you don't have to be so nice.
I bet he has plenty of money. I never saw such big diamonds.
The biggest diamonds go with the emptiest pockets.
I don't see how you figure that out.
Yet, when a man's got in the bank money, he don't have to wear fancy clothes and diamond rings. It's only when he's got nothing he has to get his clothes to tell a lie for him.
He has such nice manners. Look how nice he was to Papa.
When a spider's making eyes at a fly, he's so polite, butter wouldn't melt in his face.
Well, you didn't like him the minute he came in.
I didn't like him before he came in.
Now, I don't see how you can take a dislike to a person the minute you see him.
Darling, it's female ignition. The minute I saw him, I knew whatever he wants, Papa shouldn't give it to him. Besides, he talks too good. He knows too many long words.
What difference does that make, Ma?
Oh, Sarah, when a man is selling you something that's a genuine bargain, he uses short words, so you know what he's talking about. But when he's selling you something that's no good, then he has to use long words, so you'll be so busy trying to figure out the words, you won't find out what he's trying to sell you.
Well, I know what he's trying to sell, Papa.
Sure, so do I.
He has a very fine gold mine, and he's willing to let Papa in on the ground floor.
Mm-hmm. If Papa goes in on the ground floor, he'll go out in the alley.
But it's a very fine mine. There's gold there just waiting to be picked up.
If there's gold there, why don't he pick it up and not bother Papa?
Oh, you don't understand, Ma. They have to buy machinery.
Machinery to pick up gold? What's the matter? Is he too lazy to stoop down?
Oh, don't you see, Ma? They have to dig the gold out of the ground. Then they run it through the machine, and the gold comes out of one side and the rocks out of the other.
I'll bet he'll give Papa the side with the rocks.
Oh, he can't do that. It's a corporation.
I thought it was a gold mine.
Oh. Mama, the trouble with you is that you're too suspicious.
Darling, 43 years I lived in this world, and one thing I learned. For nothing, you get nothing. Anytime somebody gives away something, it's got a hole in it. Besides, Papa is a knee pants manufacturer, not a gold catcher. A shoemaker should stick to his hand.
To his last, Mother, not to his end.
Last end, it don't matter.
But Papa bought that apartment building, and he doesn't know anything about real estate.
That's different. You buy a building, you go and look, and there it is. You buy a gold mine, and where is it?
It's in Australia.
Sure, he showed Papa the map. You saw it yourself.
Maps. What do I know about maps? Am I a geography?
No, but you can read a map, can't you? Here, look. This is Australia.
Mm-hmm. So it's Australia. Yeah. Let's see. Here in the middle, Desert. Desert. What kind of map is this? Desert like a dinner? This is a crazy map.
Oh, that's desert, Mother. The whole middle of Australia is a desert.
What is this blue business around here?
That's water, Ma. All water.
Then where comes Germany in the water? And where is Vienna and what became of Poland?
Germany, Vienna, and Poland.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what the trouble is. Ma's thinking of Austria.
Oh,
Didn't
sure.
you say Austria?
No, we said Australia.
Put the map away. Before I looked at it, I didn't know anything at all about it. And since you explained it to me, I know less.
Well, the very fact you can't read a map has nothing to do with the gold mine. This man came here. He was sent to Papa by a friend of his, and he offers Papa a big chance to make a lot of money. And, well, I think if Papa's smart, he'll grab the opportunity.
He's a nice fellow, too.
Sure, didn't you hear him tell Papa that a year from today, this stock will be worth 10 times the money he paid for it?
Sure, I heard him.
Didn't you see the samples of the gold ore he had? Well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Well, you don't think everybody's dishonest, do you?
No, darling. Most people is honest.
Then why do you suspect this man?
Just because most people are honest. That's why I suspect him.
I don't get it.
Every year since we was married, people come to your Papa with prepositions. Honest people who really need money for a legitimate reason. Sometimes they offer him 5%, sometimes 6 or 7. Maybe once in a while 8. That's all. This man, he's got it a preposition where he offers 100%. So he's entirely different from the others. So if the others are honest and he's entirely different, he must be dishonest.
I think you're entirely wrong, Ma.
That could be too. Ah, it's Papa. Hello, Jake. Hello.
Hello, Papa.
Hello, Sylvia. The hell did he come back yet?
No, but he'll be here.
How do you know he'll be here?
Say, for $10,000, you can make 2 visits. That's more than a doctor gets, even a specialist.
But what has he got to do with doctors?
He's the same as a doctor. He's a surgeon.
Oh, you mean a surgeon.
I thought a surgeon was a fellow in the army like a general, only lower.
That's a sergeant. Surgeon's the correct word, Ma.
Well, how can you compare him to a surgeon?
He's even higher priced than a surgeon. A surgeon takes off your tonsils, he gets $200. This man takes off your pocketbook, he gets $10,000.
Mommy, you're talking and you know nothing. What do you know about gold mines?
Nothing, darling. I wouldn't know a gold mine if it was growing right in my backyard.
You see, you know nothing about it.
Say, if you told me all you know about it, Jake, I'd still know nothing.
Joe Manischewitz is buying, and is he a fool? Well, I'm asking you, is he a fool?
About Joe Manischewitz, I know nothing. If he wants to give away his money, it wouldn't take one noodle out of my soup. But if you give away your money, it's a white horse of another color.
Mama, 16 years I've been in the knee pants business, and I'm still a poor man. I've worked like a dog all day long. Don't I?
Yeah, you do, Jake. You're a hard worker.
You bet your life I worked from morning to night. I'm planning and scheming, and still I don't get rich. Now comes a chance for me to make a lot of money, and what are you doing? Don't tell me, I'll answer. You're discouraging me.
Jake, listen. 16 years you've been in our business. A good business. You worked hard.
You bet your life.
You know the business, don't you?
I should say I do.
All right, then. If in 16 years with hard work and a good reputation, you can't become rich in our business you know, how can you suddenly become rich in a business you don't know?
But, Mama, look how much gold is used.
I know, even teeth is full of it.
It's a better business than knee pants.
Then why does anybody go in the knee pants business? Why doesn't everybody be a gold miner?
But everybody can't be a gold miner.
All right, then somebody has to make knee pants, ain't it?
Of course, of course.
All right, then you make knee pants.
Oh, there's no use talking. Pa, you know how Ma is when she makes up her mind. She doesn't understand this, that's all.
If you had listened to the man, Mama, when he was explaining, you would understand perfectly that you can't help but make money.
Jake, I didn't like his eyes.
You didn't like... What kind of a reason is that? You didn't like his eyes.
Sue me. I didn't like his eyes.
What kind of eyes must a gold miner got? Is it a special brand?
Jake, there's no use talking. Look, am I trying to do you a hurt?
No.
Then as a favor personal to me, please don't buy from him Gold Star.
But why not?
I'm asking you, don't buy it.
Becky, if you would only listen to the man. P.J. Morton, a big oil man, he bought it. Then Lee Foreman, the big broker, he bought it. Then Joe Manischewitz and Henry Kane, the biggest banker in St. Louis, bought thousands of dollars worth. And if it's good enough for them, why shouldn't I invest my money?
Don't buy.
He showed me a letter from the mayor of one of the biggest towns in Australia, where it says that he has seen this gold mine and he thinks it's the best mine in the entire country.
Do you know this mayor?
How do I know? Of course I don't.
How do you know he wrote the letter then?
Oh, but, Mama, he wouldn't do a thing like
Why
that.
not? For $10,000, I'd write letters till my knuckles hurt.
Mama, you know what? You're suspicious.
For $10,000, I can be a little suspicious.
That's no use talking. The man is coming back in a minute, and when he comes back, I'm buying from him the gold mine stock.
Do me one favor, Jake, will you please?
What do you want now?
Let me talk to him.
What are you going to ask him?
I don't know. I'll ask him questions.
And then you'll know what.
For 5 minutes, I want to talk to him. What can it hurt?
What can it do good? I've already made up my mind, Mama. I'm going to buy it.
Then you'll sure to let me talk, huh?
All right. If it'll make you any happier, talk. But I tell you right now, no matter what you say, I'm going to buy.
Let me talk for 5 minutes, Jake, and I'll promise you that after I talk with him, if you still want to buy, you'll buy.
Here he is now. I'll answer the door.
Before you answer, Jake, promise
You're
me.
driving me crazy.
Promise me.
All right.
Let him in.
Yes, just a minute. Step right in, Mr. Sterling. Step right in. Mr. Sterling, my wife would like to ask you something.
Well, I'm always glad to oblige the ladies. How do you do, Mrs. Blue?
How do you do, Mr. Sterling? Take a seat.
Thank you. Now, if there's anything I can explain to you, I'll be very happy to do it.
You're a gold miner yourself, Mr. Sterling?
Oh, yes, of course.
Your hands look awful soft for a miner.
Oh, my dear Mrs. Bloom, I'm not exactly a miner in the sense of the word.
Oh, well, what sense of the word are you a miner?
Well, I've always looked after the financial end, etc.
Etc.? Etc. in a gold mine?
Well, I mean, and so forth.
Oh, then you're not really a practical miner. I mean, you didn't dig this gold actual. And you yourself, personal, couldn't tell if in this hole is more gold underneath, eh?
I see what you're driving at, Mrs. Bloom, and a very good point you brought up, too. What you mean is I would hardly be competent to make a reliable survey of what the future of this mine will be.
Yeah, a think like that would have to come from a expert.
Very well put, Mrs. Bloom. Here is the letter from the expert now look it over. This firm is unquestionably the best in its line, and you see what they say about the mine, and you know how conservative these experts are.
For my husband, I wouldn't bother you, Mr. Sterling. He's going to buy. But if it's such a good proposition, I would like to invest $10,000 of my own money.
Well, I'll be happy to accommodate you.
Mama, from where have you got money?
Do I tell you everything, Jack? Mr. Sterling, mine glasses are in the other room. Is the name from these hexploits Cord and Sutherland?
Yes, ma'am. Gordon Sutherland of Sydney, Australia.
Isn't that a funny thing? Mine cousin, Sarah Lefkovich, works by them.
You mean she works for them?
Sure. Ain't it lucky? Look, I'm going to send her our cable and ask her exactly what to do. It ain't for mine husband, Mr. Sterling. It's for me. And I'll tell her exactly how hard you're working to raise money for this mine. She's an awful nice girl. Her brother is our big police detective there.
I'm afraid I have to rush away. I've an appointment.
Oh, yeah, but you leave your address so we can call you the minute the cable comes back.
I'm leaving town in the morning. I'll get in touch with you later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Becky, I know now he was a faker, but how could you know?
I didn't like his eyes.
Yes, but ain't it lucky your cousin just happened to work for this firm?
What cousin?
Your cousin Sarah Lefkovich in Australia.
I ain't even got a cousin, Sarah Lefkovich.
Well, here's Mama Bloom's brood. In the kitchen of the Bloom flat, Mama is preparing the evening meal. Yetta is in the living room.
Yetta! Yetta!
What do you want, Ma?
Come in, darling. Set the table for supper. Pop will be home in a minute.
Oh, don't call it supper, Ma. It's dinner. And besides, I wish you wouldn't call me Yetta. I've asked you a million times not to call me Yetta. My name is Yvette.
Yvette, all right. Set the table for dinner, Yetta.
Oh, Ma, you're hopeless.
Well, I don't know if I'm hopeless or not. I know I'm busy. You know your papa. He takes off his hat. He wants to eat supper. Excuse me, dinner. Set the table now, and don't slam the dishes.
Oh, it wouldn't hurt him if he had to wait.
Don't talk that way about your father, Yetta. Excuse me, I mean Yvette.
That's better.
Yeah. Well, as long as you've changed your name, I think we should change our name. If Yetta's Yvette, my name is Becky, so I'll call myself Gwendolyn. And Papa's Jake, so we'll call him Mortimer.
Oh, now you're making fun of me.
No, I'm not. What difference is names anyway? I call it supper, you call it dinner. It's still potatoes, meat, and coffee. Meantime, we ain't got the table set, so Miss Yetta, Yvette, let's set the table for supper dinner, huh?
Oh, it's a shame we can't have a maid. Everybody's family has at least one servant.
I'll bet you in the United States there are 3 or 4 families that haven't got a servant. Maybe even 5.
Well, we could have one if you and Pa weren't so stingy.
Stingy's one thing and money's another. Now, if I was Mrs. Vanderbilt, I could have 7 servants, 1 for each day in the week. But the whole trouble is Papa ain't Mr. Vanderbilt, so I can't be Mrs. Vanderbilt.
Well, if you were Mrs. Vanderbilt, you wouldn't be cooking dinner.
How do I know? Would you believe it? As long as Mrs. Vanderbilt's been in this country, never has she invited me to her house. Not that I would go.
Well, of course you'd go.
I don't think so. What would we talk about, Mrs. Vanderbilt and me? Would she be interested in the way I stuff a goose? Or would I be interested in the way she cooks polo?
Oh, Ma, you don't cook polo. Polo's a game. You play it with horses.
All right. You see, I told you we wouldn't get along at all, Mrs. Vanderbilt and me. So I made up my mind, even if she invited me, I wouldn't go.
Well, if she invited me, I'd go.
All right, you go and tell her I'm busy. She wouldn't know any different. Wait a minute. Don't give your papa one of those little coffee cups.
You mean a demi-tasse cup, Ma?
Demi-tasse, don't give him one. Someday he'll swallow it. Besides, he don't like them.
All right, Ma.
Give him a big cup. He can afford it. When Papa wants coffee, he wants coffee and not samples.
All right.
All right. And meanwhile, I helped you set the table, huh? While we're doing all this talking. You ain't so dumb.
What are we going to have for dinner?
Well, if I told you pork, I'd be a liar. So I'll tell you hamburger steak.
Oh, I don't like hamburger steak. I like steak.
Yes, darling. You take $1 and you change it to pennies, it's still the same money. Don't forget that. So if you like steak, you like hamburger steak.
Well, now, why do we have to have hamburger?
Your papa likes it.
Do you like it?
What your papa likes, I like. 22 years you can't be married to a man and like different kinds of food. Papa likes hamburger. I like papa, so I like hamburger. In the movies, they call that love.
Well, if Papa's so crazy about you, it seems to me he would get a maid so you wouldn't have to work so hard.
In the first place, I don't work so hard. And in the second place, what would I do with myself all day? And in the third place, I like doing things for your papa in the first place.
But if you didn't have so much work to do, cooking and making beds and darning socks and dusting and things, well, you would have time for other things.
What other things?
Oh, lots of other things.
Maybe I wouldn't like the other things. Besides, I told you, when I do something for your papa and he likes it, that's to me already a pleasure. If I cook him a meal, suppose I spend 2 or 3 hours. Papa comes home. He eats it. He says, Mama, that was a good dinner. Believe me, Yvette, that's more fun than Mrs. Vanderbilt's polo to me.
Maybe you're right, Ma.
Besides, your papa ain't got it so easy downtown. You got to remember that. Manufacturing boys' knee pants ain't no bed of roses. And if he's willing to work downtown all day for me, why shouldn't I do a few things for him? Besides, business ain't so good anyhow. Even those who don't intend to pay ain't buying.
Oh, I wish we were rich.
I guess everybody wishes they was rich. But it don't do no good. Money you gotta work for, not wish for.
Oh, if we were rich, we could have a beautiful apartment with 4 or 5 bathrooms.
What's the matter with this house? There's worser places than this.
And we need a new car, too. I'm sick of that old thing.
The car's all right. It runs. You push something and it goes.
Oh, it's 2 years old. Besides, we should have 2 cars. It's very inconvenient, Ma. 4 in the family and only 1 automobile. You know yourself, lots of times when you and Pa want the car, Sister and I absolutely have to have it.
Maybe we should have 4 cars.
Oh, I hate that old car, and I hate our furniture, and I hate this flat, and I hate the neighborhood.
Yetta, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Why?
It's a sin to talk like that. You don't know how lucky you are.
Oh, lucky.
Yeah, lucky. In this country, there are thousands of girls who'd be glad to trade places with you.
Oh.
And here comes Papa.
Hello, Mama.
Hello, darling.
Hello, yes.
Papa.
Not Yetta. Yvette.
Yeah. Well, sister.
She ain't home yet. But sit right down, Papa. We'll eat now. I can put something away for Sarah in the stove. It'll keep warm.
Say, Mama, did I get a telephone call?
No. How was business today, Papa?
Not so good.
So it'll get better tomorrow. What's the difference? Every day can't be Santa Claus.
Christmas, Mama, not Santa Claus.
Christmas.
But, Mama, I should get a telephone call.
Take some potatoes instead. With hamburger steak goes potatoes, not phone calls.
Without phone calls, there won't even be hamburger steak.
What's the matter, Jake?
Nothing.
You're going to tell me later. Why don't you tell me now?
Mommy, you know that big order we sold for $26,319.75?
You mean to Levine in Altoona?
Yeah. Well, he's as good as gold, you know that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have shipped it.
Sure, I know. We looked him up. But I thought the check came in yesterday, less 2% discount.
It did, and we deposited it. But today I see in the paper that his bank failed, and if we didn't get the check in before the failure, it'll be 2 years before we get our money.
But it ain't your fault if the bank failed.
That was Yvette talking. Ayetta would have had more sense, Jake. So if you don't get the money, what is it?
Mama, if we don't get the money, we go out of business.
But you'll get the money.
If we don't, we won't be able to keep on.
Who's phoning you?
Sam stayed down at the office. He's got a friend at our bank who's letting him know. And as soon as he knows, he's going to call me. But, Mama, I'm afraid it's no good.
What'll you do then?
What'll I do? I'll have to get a job and start all over again.
Well, we lived once when you worked at our sewing machine, Jake. I guess we can do it again.
Yes, I guess we can. Well, it's not a very nice thing to think about.
Don't think about it then. In the first place, it ain't happened yet. And in the second place, I found out one thing in this life. Nothing is ever quite as bad after it happens as it looked like it was going to be before it happened.
But I can't understand why Sam doesn't call.
He'll call. Don't worry.
Don't worry, she said.
Sure, besides, if it's good news, it's worth waiting a few minutes for. And if it's bad news, the later we hear about it, the less time we have to feel bad.
But I can't stand the waiting. You know, it makes me nervous.
Listen, there's people voice soft than you are. Suppose the voice comes to the voice and you had to go out of business? Think of all the aggravation you'd miss. Instead of working hard all day and worrying all night and figuring out how to meet the payroll every Saturday, all you have to do is work all day and let the boss worry all night how to meet the payroll.
I'll have to give up the apartment, get a couple of rooms someplace.
We won't have to give up this beautiful apartment, will we, Pa?
Yes, darling, I'm afraid we will.
All right, so I'll have less rooms to clean.
We'll have to move back to a cheaper neighborhood, like where we started from.
I lived in that neighborhood once, and I can live there again. Besides, it's very sociable, this kind of a neighborhood. Instead of having only one other family on the floor, you have 12.
I think we'll have to sell our car, too.
Sell our nice car, Pa? Oh, we don't have to do that, do we?
So we have to sell the car. For pretty near 40 years, I rode in streetcars, and it didn't kill me. Besides, since we got the car, I'm getting too fat. Maybe it'll do me good to walk a little.
But, Mama, you don't understand how I feel, having to give up the business.
Jake, I understand how you feel. But still, you got nothing to be ashamed of.
Oh, sister, and I'll die if this thing happens. If we have to leave this lovely apartment and sell our beautiful car and move to an old, cheap neighborhood.
Listen, Yetta. Every year, hundreds of girls die. And not one of them die from selling a automobile or moving to a smaller apartment. That's a disease that don't kill. Jake, it's the phone. Answer it.
Mama, you answer it. I'm afraid.
All right, Jake, I'll answer it. But remember, no matter what happens, it's going to be all right.
Answer it.
All right,
Don't
don't
stand there. I
get
can't
excited.
wait, please.
I'll catch it. Hello, Sam. This is Becky. How are you, Sam? I'm all right. Yeah, he's home. Well, you can tell me. He's a little nervous. Yeah. You heard from the man in the bank? Yes. 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 No.
Oh.
No. Oh, yeah, yes. Yes, I'll tell him right away, Sam. Yeah. Goodbye.
Well, what is it? Don't stand there like a dummy. Tell me, what is it? What is it?
Jake, don't get excited. You got a bad
Bad
heart.
heart, bad smart. Tell me, Becky, what is it?
Jake, the check is all right. The bank didn't fail. It was only a rumor.
Oh, thanking God. Mama, give me some potatoes.
And everything's all right.
Yeah, the check went through. Papa gets the money. And we're still in the nip ends business.
And we don't have to sell a car or move or anything?
No, my darling.
Oh, gee, if you knew how I felt.
Theater, let this be a lesson to you, huh? The next time you don't like this flat, the next time you want a new car, the next time you hate this neighborhood, remember what a beautiful place this was, what a nice neighborhood we lived in, and what a shining automobile we owned when we thought we didn't own it. Yetta, if you ever want to find out how much you think of something, lose it for a few minutes.
Yeah. I guess you're right, Ma.
Take a little more hamburger steak, Yetta.
But I don't like it.
Yetta, remember 5 minutes ago when we didn't have it?
Give me some, Ma.
Yeah, that must be Sarah.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Sarah, darling.
Hello, my
Hello, Sally.
Sit down, Annette, darling, sit down.
What have we got for dinner?
Hamburger steak. It's good, ain't it, Yetta?
Yeah, it's swell.
Well, here's Mama Bloom's brood. It is evening in the Bloom flat. Mama, Papa, and the two girls are sitting in the living room. And Mama says,
Sally, turn on the radio.
All right. What do you want to hear?
What do you want to hear?
Oh, it doesn't make any difference to us. I think we're going out.
Yes, we're going to take a walk.
Children, why don't you stay home?
Let them go for a walk, Papa. Fresh air is very injurious for you. It puts new life in the system.
Yeah, but why can't they stay home for one night?
Jake, let them go.
All right. But I'll bet they'd stay home if they knew who was coming.
Oh, it's some friend of yours, I guess, and he'll sit here and discuss the knee pants business.
He ain't a friend of mine. He ain't in the knee pants business. Now bet you'll stay home.
Who is it, Pa?
Yeah, well, why don't you wait and see?
Well, tell us.
What is it, some kind of a guessing game?
Well, this much I'll tell you. He's in the automobile business.
Who do you know in the automobile business, Jake?
I don't see how it makes any difference to us what business he's in.
Hey, if you want to go out, go out.
Jake, something's in your mind. Don't play riddles with me.
What can be in my mind,
What
Mama?
kind from a fellow, you see, huh? Will Yetta like him, you think?
Now I am going out. Papa, you promised me you wouldn't bring any more men home for me to look over.
If he's a nice fellow, why can't you stay? Must something be wrong with him because Papa brings him home?
Well, I'm not going to like him. I'll promise you that.
Maybe it'll be a case of love from first sight. Anyway, how can you tell that you won't like a fella before you see him? Any firm can send in samples you don't have to buy. Jake, what does he look like? Is he beautiful?
He's a little short fella.
Fat, I bet.
Fat? He's very fat and bald, and he's got a big, long nose.
I told you.
And he is shorter than you, maybe by 6 inches, and old. Well, he's as old as me.
Well, I'm not going to stay home, and I wouldn't marry him if he had $65 million.
Who's
and a...
asking you to marry him? You gotta marry him just because he's coming here to sell me an automobile.
To sell you an automobile.
Sell you an automobile?
What's the matter with my English all of a sudden? Am I a foreigner that you can't understand me?
Jake, a joke is a joke, but do you mean it?
Why not? Mama, if it hadn't been for you, I would have spent $10,000 in a gold mine, and we couldn't even go riding in it.
Oh, Papa, I think you're the swellest thing.
Papa, you're a piece.
Yeah, a piece. Maybe you got a little kiss for Papa, huh?
Here's 2.
Oh, here's 3 from me.
Now,
No,
Jake.
Becky, sit still. You don't have to get up for a kiss from you. I'll walk all the way over there. Now, girls, if you want to go out, who's stopping?
You couldn't drive them out with hammers.
When's he coming?
No, children, don't get excited. We can't get it tonight.
Oh, I'm afraid you'll change your mind.
Papa won't change his mind. He's not an Indian taker.
Yeah. Any minute now he's coming.
Now, the first thing you do is to decide what color it'll be. I think a light gray with red wire wheels and red upholstery. And then I can wear my gray dress when I drive.
Oh, all black looks richest, unless it's going to be a roadster. Hey, let's get a roadster, huh?
I don't like a roadster. My hair blows too much. And besides, when it rains...
Well, then a convertible roadster.
Wait a minute, Yetta. A roadster's got 1 seat, ain't it?
Yes, but it's got a nice rumble.
A rumble. The best automobiles don't make noises. Me, I like a quiet car.
Oh, I mean a rumble seat, Ma.
Oh, you mean the kind of seat you get in like you was climbing over a fence? Such kind of seats is not for me.
Wait, you just leap into them.
Sarah, I'm no leaping hyena. I like such a kind of car with a back seat that you can get into without rumble.
Yes, but they're very sporty.
Since when is your mother a sporty?
Well, a roadster we won't get. In the first place, a roadster, the wind gets in my eyes.
You could wear googles, Jake.
Say goggles, Ma, not Google.
Goggles, what difference does it make? Yellow ones, not black ones. Black ones I don't like.
Why don't you like black goggles?
The black goggles, it always looks like she'd go a tin cup and some lead pencils.
What color goggles you should wear is not so important, Mama.
You know what we ought to get, Pa? We ought to get a convertible Phaeton with partition seats. Or else a cabriolet. Don't you think so, Ma?
It sounds too expensive.
Oh, a cabriolet is very nice.
I don't think it's for us.
Oh, why not?
What do we need with a foreign car?
That's not a foreign car, Ma. That's the name of a particular kind of body.
Yeah.
And another thing. Let's get one with an adjustable front seat so that when I drive, I won't have to use a pillow.
The driving I'll do. I don't want you should all get killed.
Now, you know we both drive better than you do, Pa. Don't we, Ma?
Everybody's got a different system. Your papa drives one system, you drive another system.
System, schmistem, I drive all right.
Sure you drive all right, Jake. I don't like a fancy driver. Your driving is very conservatory.
You mean conservative, Ma?
Papa drives careful.
Papa drives all over the road.
He never pays any attention to stop-and-go lights.
And he never gives a signal to anybody.
Nobody gives him anything.
And he starts with a jerk that almost throws you out of your seat.
Yeah, and he's always killing his motors.
When he changes speeds, you can hear him 4 blocks away.
Outside of that, he's all right.
So, I'm as bad as all that, huh?
Yes, Pa. We hate to tell you, but you're the worst driver in the world.
Yeah, Pa, honest you are.
Well, if I'm such a bad driver, I think the best thing to do is to keep the old car. And when the man comes, you'll tell him I've changed my mind. And now I'm going into the other room and read.
Oh.
Now you see what you've done. You've turned upside down the apple cart and you've made applesauce.
Oh, Ma, can't you do anything?
What can I do? You talked him in that he was such a bad driver that he believes you.
But he really is an awfully bad driver, honest, Ma.
Do you think this was the time to tell him?
But it's the truth.
The truth is very beautiful, but there is no one who is so unpopular as a person who's going around all the time telling the truth, especially when the truth hurts.
Well, you don't want us to lie, do you?
No, Sarah, I don't want you to lie. It's not right to tell a lie. But suppose somebody comes up to you. They've just bought a dress and they say to you, how does it look?
Yeah.
You know they've already paid for the dress. What good would it do you for you to tell them it's too long or too little or too old or too young? In such a case, maybe it would be nicer for you to say, Mrs. Levy, it's a beautiful dress, even if you had to shut your eyes when you say it.
But that's different.
It's no difference at all. Papa comes home. He's feeling good. He's going to buy a new car. Half the pleasure of the whole car is the fun he gets telling you he's going to buy it, and the warm feeling that comes in his heart when he knows you're pleased.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
Mm-hmm. So suppose Papa's a bum driver. Is this the time for you to tell him so when he's feeling so fine? Wouldn't it be nicer to wait until some other time and not spoil his whole evening? And besides, if you'd waited until some other time, we would have a new automobile.
Of course you're right, but you know he's a bad driver.
Of course he's a bum driver, the worst in the world. But shall I tell him so? It's better that he should hit 10 streetcars than I should have one argument with him.
Well, can't you do something, Ma?
Yeah, I can do something. But why should I? The old car's all right for me.
Oh, Ma, please do something.
Why should I be a fool? Fight with a husband I do want about the automobile I don't want.
But you said you could make him buy one.
Why should I? Everything was fine. He was going to buy the car, and you talked him out of it. That's what education does for you.
All right, Ma. We admit we're wrong. Please get us out of it.
How can a dumb woman like me help two smart girls like you? All the time I'm making mistakes, and you have to correct me. You did it. Now undid it.
What do you mean?
I'll call Papa back in here. You talked him out of the car. Now talk him back into it. It'll be good practice for you when you get married.
What'll we say to him?
Don't ask me. You know a lot of words. Just put them in the right places. You knew where they belonged when you wanted to tell him about his driving.
Well, I don't think we can do it. Let's try it. We've nothing to lose.
Sure, you got no new car now. You can't do worse than that.
All right. Ask him to come in, please, Ma.
Jake, come in here.
Well, who wants me?
The girls.
They want to tell me more about my bum driving? I know, that's all settled.
Who said you're a bum driver?
Who said it? Who said it?
They said
it.
nothing.
You're telling me.
How can you hear what's going on if you go in the other room in the middle?
I heard enough.
I tell you, you ran away in the middle. In the first place, Sarah and Yetta, are they judges?
They don't know what they're talking about.
Of course they don't know what they're talking about. But they know about driving you could write on the pin of a head. Besides, what they did say was not that you was a bad driver. In the first place, a bad driver has accidents. Did you have accidents?
Accidents? No. 2 years I've been driving, and not once did I have an accident.
Knock wood.
All right.
What they were saying was that once in a while, maybe once a month or every 2 months, I'll go and a stop sign you passed by.
Well, how can anybody help that?
That's just what they said, the very voice.
Yeah, but Yetta says I was always killing my motor.
What Yetta meant was that in an old car, anybody can kill a motor. So if you get a new car, right away, that'll be all right.
Who's getting a new car?
Nobody's getting a new car, Jake. But everybody who is getting a new car, if once in a while they do make a little mistake driving, people are so busy looking at the new car and the shiny paint that who notices a little mistake?
Well, once in a while I do drive in the center of the road, just in case I want to pass somebody.
That's just what Sarah said.
No, it isn't, Pop. I'll tell you what I said, even if I never get the car. I'm not going to let Ma take our parts every time we make darn fools of ourselves. We're supposed to be so smart. The result is, if we don't get a new car, it's all our own fault.
Sure it is. It serves us right, too. Even if you were the worst driver in the world. After all, it's your car, and we know you enjoy driving it. So if we have to shoot off our mouths about how bad you drive it, it would just serve us right if we never got a new car.
Papa, they didn't mean what they said.
Yes, we did. In the first place, we were very rude, and besides, as soon as you mentioned you were going to get a car, we picked out what we wanted without even thinking what you and Ma might want.
Papa, you'll forgive them, won't you, Papa?
Sure, I'll forgive them.
And you'll buy tonight from the man a car?
No, absolutely not, and that is final.
You're not going to buy?
He's absolutely right. I wouldn't buy us one either.
You see, the reason I'm not going to buy from him a car tonight is that this afternoon I already bought one.
Jake. Papa!
Well, am I a good driver?
You're the best driver in the world.
And if you want to drive in the middle of the road, it's okay with me.
There's the automobile man.
I'll answer it. Shall I tell him to come up?
No. We'll go downstairs. The new car's in front.
Oh, come on, seriously.
Jake,
Yeah?
has it got a rumble seat?
Absolutely, Mama. It's a gray roadster with a rumble seat.
Jake, how can I get in a rumble seat?
Mama, the girls wanted a rumble seat. Let them get into it.
Well, here's Mama Bloom's brood. Looks as though Mama and the two girls were preparing for some sort of festive occasion in the Bloom home. Let's find out what it's all about.
How many places, Ma?
Set places for 11, Sarah. 8 I invited and 11 are coming.
If you invited 8, how can you figure 11 are coming?
8 I invited and me is 9. But Mrs. Mandelbaum always brings her sister, and her sister always brings her sister-in-law. That makes 11.
Well, I don't see what you want to go to all that fuss for. It's an awful lot of trouble, isn't it?
Sure, giving a party's a lot of trouble.
Why do you do it then?
Your papa's sister Minnie is visiting me, and unless I go to a lot of trouble, she won't think I enjoy having her. Besides, Mrs. Levine gave a lunch, so I got to pay her back.
Yeah?
And Mrs. Horowitz gave an evening at home. Very stylish, with 5 kinds of cake. 4 she baked, 1 she bought.
Well, who else?
Mrs. Heiseks and her sister I got to have.
Why? I don't like them.
I don't like them either, but Papa does business with them. They're costumers.
Yeah, go ahead.
Birdie Rosine is giving up bridge at the temple next Wednesday, and she invited me.
I wouldn't play bridge with her. She cheats.
Not very much. She only figured out that if she takes a little look at your hand, it's better than a finesse. The rest I have to have sooner or later, so I might as well get it over with. Besides, I want they should take your Aunt Minnie out, and if I give them a party, they got to take her out.
Oh, it's a lot of trouble getting out the new china and the new silverware.
Well, don't forget the good napkins, huh?
Oh, that's more trouble.
Everything's a lot of trouble, but what can you do? If you want to be a society lady, you got to have trouble.
Did you get fresh cards?
I got 2 decks, 1 for each table.
You have to have 2 decks for each table.
They're going to have 2 decks, 1 clean deck and 1 deck that was used before.
Have you got enough food?
Yetta, I got enough food for 20. The minute I heard Mrs. Mandelbaum was coming, I bought 3 more chickens.
Is she such a big eater?
She'll eat you out of house and kitchen.
She's so thin, I wouldn't imagine she'd eat much.
Well, you never can tell by the size of the store how much business they do. Mrs. Mandelbaum eats so much, it keeps her tin undigesting it. You know, I want everything to be very swell today. Mrs. Fink is coming. And since her husband opened up another store, she thinks she's Mrs. Hester.
In what way?
In every way. I was never so sick of a person in my life as I was with Mrs. Fink. I can't stand her.
You can't?
No. Last week at Mrs. Epstein, she bragged and bragged and bragged. I thought I'd go crazy.
Well, then why are you having her?
I have to have her.
Well, why do you have to have her?
If I don't have her, everybody will think I invited her and she didn't come.
Is she so rich?
She's very rich. It's unbelievable.
Well, I'm surprised she does come. It seems to me if she's so rich, she'd go with richer people.
She couldn't do that. She'd have nobody to brag to. But she'll get over it. Everybody gets crazy sometimes. Say, when her son Hyman made the speech in school, for 2 weeks you couldn't talk to her. And then one day he was caught cheating at his examinations. Then she was all right. I forgot. Remind me of something, will you?
Remind you of what?
Remind me to call Papa when they leave.
Why?
Well, your Papa don't like parties. So every time I have a party, he stays in the store until I call him and give him the signal that everybody's gone. And then he comes home.
But why?
Why? Papa says women talk too much.
I think men talk just as much as women.
Sure they do. Maybe more. But about different things. A man talks about business, about pinochle. That's all right. That's not talk. But the minute a woman mentions a word about something else, then she talks too much.
What time are they coming?
Well, I'd like to get started at 2. So I told them 1. So they'll be here at 2. All except Mrs. Mandelbaum, who'll be here at 12:30 so she can eat more. And Mrs. Fink, who'll come early so she can brag longer.
Well, Ma, why don't you start getting dressed, huh?
I got plenty of time yet. It don't take me so long. Am I an actress?
No, but I know how long it takes you to do your hair.
Why don't you have your hair bobbed, Mother?
For me, bobbed hair's no good.
Well, your friend Mrs. Horowitz has got bobbed hair.
My friend Mrs. Klein has got tonsils. Is that any sign I should have them?
Well, how can you tell you won't look good in bobbed hair? It may be very becoming.
And if it ain't becoming, can I glue it on again?
Well, go and get dressed, Ma.
Yeah, wear your new black dress, and for goodness sake, Ma, put on your high-heeled shoes.
Yes.
You know, Yetta, I was just wondering, how did I ever get dressed before you was old enough to tell me what to wear?
There. Doesn't the table look nice?
Swell. It's just like in a movie.
Oh, you should have candles. Everybody eats by candlelight.
Yes, it's very smart.
I don't like candles.
Oh, why don't you like candles?
Candles was all right before we had electricity.
Well, it's a style.
It's a funny style. When electricity was invented, the style was to have electricity. And whoever had candles or gas was old-fashioned. Now that everybody's got electricity, suddenly it's stylish to have candles.
Well, is there anything else?
Yeah. Go in the bathroom and take down all the towels and put up the littlest guest towels with the biggest initials.
Where are they?
Oh, I know where they are. I'll put them up.
At the last party, the worst thing happened. One lady used one of the guest towels. She wiped her hands on it.
Well, what do you hang them there for if you don't want them used?
I'm surprised at you, Sarah. Guest towels ain't to be used. They're to be looked at.
Well, what are they supposed to wipe their hands on?
Darling, you're hanging back like accidentally. A plain towel. They'll use that.
Did you say 2 tables of bridge?
Yeah, darling. Go next door to the back there and borrow from Mrs. Fien our bridge table.
Oh, I'm ashamed to ask her, Ma.
Why, you're ashamed? Last week she borrowed the carpet sweeper. The week before last, a £1/4 bottle, which I never did get back.
She did?
Yeah. And week before that, she borrowed from me a quart grade A milk, and she brought me back a quart grade B.
Oh, all right. I'll go and get it.
What are you going to play for, Ma? 1/10 of a cent?
No. We play 25 cents a corner with prizes. Sarah, look and see on the bottom from the prizes and see if I didn't forget to scratch off the prices.
How many prizes have you got?
3. 1 for each table, and 1 for your Aunt Minnie.
What are the prizes?
Well, for your Aunt Minnie, I got it a sewing set.
How did you know Aunt Minnie wanted a sewing set?
She told me so. And she was so afraid I'd get the wrong kind that she went along with me and picked it out.
What else?
Well, one prize is a fancy vase, very pretty, $1.79. Looks like $5. And the other is such kind of a little thing with, well, it's got brushes in it.
What are the brushes for?
I don't know, but they look very
Here's
fancy.
the bridge table. Where shall I put it?
Put it in the closet with ours, and then it'll look like they both belong to us.
Ma, you better start getting to dress right away. It's 5 minutes after 1, and somebody's liable to show up in any minute.
It'll take me a few minutes.
Oh, go ahead, Ma. Get started. We'll take care of everything.
All right, but don't forget anything.
Well, don't worry. Just get dressed.
We really should have flowers. I don't see why Ma didn't buy some.
Oh, don't say anything. I was supposed to buy them, and I forgot.
Why didn't you tell me? I'd have remembered.
Oh, you forget plenty of things, too. Well, now, don't let's stand here. Let's hurry and finish these last few things before somebody does come.
You answer it.
Oh, no, you. I'm busy.
Oh, well, I'm busy, too.
Somebody's ringing at the door.
All right, I'll answer it. Well, I'll bet that's Mrs. Mendelbaum.
Well, go ahead and answer it. You told Ma you would.
All right. Oh, hello, Mrs. Singh.
Hello there.
Hello, Mrs. Singh.
Hello, Sally. I guess I'm a little early, but my chauffeur had to take my car down to have new seat cushions put on my upholstery.
You don't say.
You know, when you've got such an expensive upholstery, like in my car, you have to cover it up. Not that we couldn't afford new upholstery if we wanted to, but my Seymour wants it covered up.
Oh, of course.
Oh, how nice you have the table set. I always say to my maids, if the table is set beautifully, people don't pay much attention to what you serve them. Not that we don't serve them the best. Of course, I know it's so easy for my table to look good because I have nothing but the finest china with solid gold edges. And my silverware, would you believe it? It's an exact copy, not an imitation of the finest silverware you'll find in the homes on Fifth Avenue.
Is that so?
Of course, I don't like to mention what things cost. It's very vulgar. It's not done in the best families. But with a $1,500 dining room set, you got to have the best of everything. Now you take napkins.
Oh, yeah,
A
napkin.
napkin like you've got here is nice. Very nice. We used to have them, too. Exactly like these. But since we got the new $6 a piece napkins, we have these for the servants. I tell you, my servants are lucky. I often say to Seymour, a lot of people would be glad to change places with our servants.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
I should say not. They eat the same food as we do, the very finest. And look, this dress I'm wearing. This is only the second time I've had it on, and tomorrow already I'm giving it to one of my maids. $89.50 it costs. But what do I care?
Well, that's certainly very nice.
What do I care? I have so many dresses that I get up in the morning and I say to Seymour, I just don't know what to put on. And Seymour's always bringing me things. Look at this ring. 3.5 carats without a flaw in it.
Hello, Mrs. Fink. Hi.
Ah, hello, Mrs. Bloom. I was just talking to the girl.
Yeah, I could hear you in my room. I'm glad you came early, Mrs. Fink.
Yes, the chauffeur.
I heard all about it. He's putting new seat covers on your upholstery. Ain't it fine, Mrs. Fink, to have a car? Do you remember when you used to walk the market with a basket?
Yes, but...
I was just thinking while I was dressing. When your Seymour, his name was Simon then, he had a new job offered him, and he didn't have a pair of pants to wear. And Jake loaned him a pair. And they was too big. I remember how funny he looked.
Yeah.
It was certainly lucky he got the job. Do you remember, Mrs. Fink? You lived across the hall from us. You had 2 rooms, and you kept a boarder. And you didn't have any food to give the boarder for dinner. So you and I went to the market together, and for 7 cents, we bought enough vegetables to make a big stew. And I gave you a piece of meat to put into it.
Well,
How you daughters?
they're very fine, thank you.
Ain't you lucky? Do you remember how you cried when your oldest daughter failed 4 times in 1 grade? And the principal wanted to send her to some kind of a fancy school for backyard children? Ain't it wonderful that she turned out all right?
But she was...
And your Seymour, he's all right, too?
Oh, Seymour is fine.
Ain't you the lucky one? Honest, Mrs. Fink, how mine heart bled for you when Seymour had his toy bankruptcy, and the district attorney called him down to talk with him. Any man not lucky like your Seymour might have gotten in the worst kind from trouble.
Oh, that was all a big mistake, and
I heard you telling the girls about your furniture and how beautiful it was. Oh, I'm so glad, believe me.
That's very nice.
I should say it is. Do you remember the time the furniture company took back the furniture and Papa went down and made the payment, huh? Do you remember?
Becky,
Yes, Annie.
please don't bring up all those things.
Listen to me, Annie. You are now a rich woman. Your Seymour's a big businessman. It would be nice if people thought that the money didn't come so sudden, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Then don't brag so much, Annie. It's only people who have suddenly got money who keep talking about it all the time. When people have had money for a long time, it's become to them already a habit, and they don't talk about it at all. If you wish to make people believe you're rich, talk poor. Only a millionaire can afford to run around with patched pants.
Mother, do you want us to stay and help you serve the lunch?
No. You girls run along. I will help your mama serve the lunch.
Well, here's Mama Bloom's brood. Sunday morning in the Bloom household. Mama and Papa have just finished breakfast. Mama is clearing away the dishes, and Papa is reading his paper. But he seems to be perturbed about something.
Mama, why don't you wake them up?
Let them sleep.
It's after 12. Are they going to sleep all day?
What's the difference, Jake? It's Sunday. They don't have to go to work. Let them sleep.
Just because it's Sunday, do they have to sleep all day?
What difference does it make to you?
Why do you have to make breakfast 10 times?
In the first place, I only have to make breakfast 2 times. And in the second place, maybe I like making breakfast.
Make them get up and eat breakfast when I do. It wouldn't kill them. A second breakfast is a terrible bother.
What bother can it be to you if I cook the breakfast?
Is this a restaurant where anybody can have breakfast whenever they want it?
Look, Jake, the store's your business. The house is my business. You run your department and I'll run my department.
Yeah. Mama, what time did they get in last night?
To tell you the truth, I don't know.
How can you not know? In the bedroom is a clock, ain't it?
I didn't look at the clock.
Didn't you hear them come in?
Jake, you know never in my life did I go to sleep before the girls come in.
Then you must know what time they came in.
Jake, I'll tell you a secret.
Yeah?
If they come in late, I know the next morning you're going to ask me what time did they come in.
Yeah?
And so that I shouldn't have to tell you a lie, I make it my business not to look at the clock.
And then what?
Then when you ask me, I can tell you I don't know.
Oh, Mama, where can they stay out so late?
How do I know? When you take me out, you always bring me home at 11:30. So what goes on after that, I wouldn't know.
Was Sarah out with him?
Well,
is she going to marry him?
how should I know? Today everything is different. In our day, Jake, a girl who went with a man as long as Sarah's been going to Sydney would already be married to him and have 2 children.
Yeah, but do you think she's going to marry him?
She didn't tell me nothing.
Don't she ever ask you anything?
No. A girl used to come to her mother for advice, and now she writes to a newspaper.
Tell me, has he got any money?
To tell you the truth, Jake, I didn't search him.
But he's got a job, ain't he?
Usually he's got a job. Right now he's tired, so he's resting.
Tired? Tired? What's he tired
He
for?
didn't tell me.
That's all I need. A son-in-law who's always tired.
Don't get yourself aggravated, Jake. He still ain't your son-in-law, and he'll get a job. He can always get a job. Last month he had 3.
3 jobs in 1 month? What's the matter with the job's no good?
Sarah said they didn't fit his personality.
Personality? Personality? What does that mean?
How should I know? Am I a college professor?
And another thing, Becky. I'm telling you, if Sarah and Yetta come into breakfast in pajamas, I won't stand for it. Pajamas you sleep in, not eat in.
What difference does it make to you what they wear?
I will not stand for pajamas. Do I wear pajamas to breakfast?
What are you fighting with me this morning for? Fighting is bad for you. It hardens the artillery.
All right, artilleries are
All
schmillies.
right,
Wake up the girls.
all
Wake
right.
up the girls.
If it'll make you any happier, I'll wake them up.
And if it'll make you any happier, let them sleep.
No, I'll wake them up. It's time they got up anyhow. Sally! Yvette! It's almost 1 o'clock. Get up.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they'll pay any attention to you?
Sure, they'll pay attention to me.
They will. Well, why don't they get up then?
Maybe they didn't hear me.
No, why don't you speak louder?
You want I should yell at them? What are my daughters, streetcars?
I am not asking you to yell. I am only asking you to holler.
What is the difference? A holler is a yell, and a yell is a holler.
You're telling me English. What am I, a greenhorn?
What you doing now, Jake? Hollering or yelling?
What difference is
You
it?
see, I told you. A holler is a yell.
All right. Have it your way. But meanwhile, they are not getting up.
If they can sleep with you hollering or yelling, they must be tired.
Mama, are you going to ask them to get up?
Didn't I already told them?
Yeah, but how loud did you tell them?
How can I measure how loud I told them?
For the last time, Mama, they're going to sleep all day.
For the last time after the last time, I don't know.
Hey, Mama, I'm too tired to argue with you.
And they're too tired to get up.
If I am tired, it makes no difference. But if they are tired, then it makes a difference.
You're tired, so they should get up.
What did they do last night? They should be so tired.
Jake, already I told you 7 times. Sarah was with Sydney.
Mm-hmm. And 8 times I have answered you, I don't like it.
Jake.
Yeah, what is it?
Jake, tell me what's worrying you.
Worrying me? Nothing, Mama.
Something is worrying you. Why do you act like this?
Exactly like what?
I don't know what you act like. I just know something's on your mind.
Becky, you can always tell.
Well, what is it?
Becky, Sam and I are having arguments.
Sam, your partner?
Partner? He's my partner up to now.
You're not splitting up with Sam.
Oh, no, Mama. I am not splitting. Sam is splitting.
Well, why is he splitting?
Why? I don't know.
So that's what's worrying you.
Yes, Mama, that's what it is.
Well, since when did this happen?
Maybe 4 weeks, maybe 5.
Why didn't you tell me, Jake?
But, Mama, why should I tell you?
Am I a stranger?
No, you're not a stranger, but...
If you're sick, you tell me. Why don't you tell me if the business is sick?
But what good will it do telling you?
Can't I worry a little bit, too?
All right, I told you, so what?
What did you argue about?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No, nothing at all.
How can you argue about nothing at all? You and Sam aren't married.
Well, Mama, it's like this.
Mm-hmm. Now it comes out.
You know, when Sam and I started in business, we each put up the same amount of money, you remember?
Yes, why not?
And we were each supposed to draw the same amount.
Sure, I know.
For 9 years, Mama, it went on like that. Last year, you know, Sam's daughter got married, so he came to me and he said he needed another $1,000.
Well, sure, she had to get ready her torso.
Mm-hmm. So he drew the $1,000 extra.
Say, a man's daughter gets married, what can he do?
And now comes this year, and I said to Sam, as long as last year you took an extra 1,000, this year you'll take 1,000 less.
Mm-hmm. What did he say?
What did he say? He said he couldn't do it.
Why did he say he couldn't do it?
What difference does it make what reasons? He said he couldn't do it.
Uh-huh. So about this you're fighting?
Sure, about this we are fighting. If every time he wants $1,000 and takes it, there's the business going to be.
One time ain't every time,
But if he
Jake.
does it once, Mommy, he can do it again.
But he didn't do it again.
He shouldn't have done it one time.
Well, the time to tell him that was when he done it the first time, not now, a year later.
I told him then, but he said he had to have it.
Well, as long as you gave it to him, why start a fight now?
Why? Do I take $1,000 extra every time I turn around?
Partners shouldn't fight.
Mama, I am not fighting with him. He is fighting with me. Besides, if I came to him and told him I needed $1,000, do you think he'd let me have it?
Did you ask him?
I don't have to ask him, Mama. I know.
For what do you need $1,000?
Mama, I don't need it. But if I did need it and I asked him for $1,000, I know he wouldn't give it to me.
So you don't need it, but if you did need it and you asked him and he said no, you'd start a fight. So before anything happens, you're starting a fight just to be on the safe side,
Mama,
huh?
I wouldn't ask him for $1,000 if I started that.
If you wouldn't ask him, then he couldn't say no, and then there couldn't be a fight, so what are you fighting about?
But suppose, Mama, suppose I did ask him. There's no use talking. Sam and I are splitting. I could get 1,000,000 partners.
But you couldn't get 1,000,000 Sam.
Yeah, I could get better than Sam.
Sure, but you could get boys than Sam, too. It's better you don't change horses until you've got your bridges crossed. Sam is a good partner. Don't jump out of the frying pan into a kettle of fish.
I don't need partners to take $1,000 every minute.
Don't be so quick. Look before you hesitate.
Yeah, I made up my mind. 2 o'clock today we are meeting, and unless he is willing to take $1,000 less this year, we are splitting up.
Why 2 o'clock today? 10 years you and Sam have been together, and suddenly you can't stand him after 2 o'clock. Couldn't you wait maybe for another week?
Mama, I wouldn't wait an hour.
Let me talk to him, huh?
Talk I don't want. I want $1,000.
Oh,
Morning,
oh,
Pop.
good morning, darling.
Hello. Go back and take off those pajamas.
Well, what's the matter with these pajamas?
In my house, you don't wear pajamas to breakfast. Pajamas you wear to bed.
Well, cheer up, Pop. I won't be in your house much longer.
Huh? Where are you going?
Sally, don't talk foolish. Papa's got enough worries.
I'm not talking foolishness.
Don't worry me this morning. You stay out all night, get up in the middle of the afternoon, and you come down in pajamas. And right away, you start with riddles.
Well, this is no riddle, Pop. After all, Sidney and I are jumping off the bridge together.
You're going swimming.
Yes, swimming in the sea of matrimony. In other words, I've consented to make Sidney an honest man.
Sidney was stealing something.
Now, wait. I'll start all over again. Sidney and I are going to be married.
You're going to be married?
Sure, you've heard of it. Wedding bells, rice, old shoes. Some of the best people do it.
With Sidney?
Yes, with Sidney.
Sarah, you're not joking.
It's too late for that now. We're taking the fatal step 4 weeks from Monday.
4 weeks from month, but why didn't you tell us before?
Well, it just happened last night. That is, Sidney thinks it just happened last night. I made up my mind a couple of months ago. And last night he popped the fatal question, and I had the answer all ready. Now you two figure that out. Meanwhile, I'll change these pajamas. So long.
Becky, what are you crying about, Becky?
Can't I cry a little? Sidney's a fun boy.
Yeah, but what's wrong with Sarah? Even if she does wear pajamas, maybe Sidney likes pajamas.
But you know, Sidney's got no job. Huh?
Yeah, he'll get a job. The worst comes to worst, he can go to work for me. That is as soon as I get my new partner.
What new partner?
What new partner? Did you already forget that Sam and I are meeting at 2 o'clock?
Oh, you mean about the $1,000?
Sure about the $1,000.
Don't worry, he won't mind if you draw it.
If I draw it.
Sure you draw it. Sarah's got to get a torso.
Mama, you're right.
Yeah. I can't stand it. I got to call somebody up.
Well, who are you going to call
I
up?
don't know who to call first. I'd like to call everybody first.
Well, Mama, first you should call Sam.
I
After all,
know.
he's entitled to it.
Yeah, dial me up the number, Jake. But when they answer, don't you tell them. I want to tell them myself.
All
huh?
right, Mama, all right. Just a minute. Hello. Here it is. Hold the wire. My wife wants to tell you that Sarah's engaged.
Yeah, hello,
Yeah.
Sam. Is Dora there? Jane, the minute she comes in, tell her to call me. I got swell news. Yeah, Sarah and Sidney are engaged. Yeah. Yeah, it just happened last night. Yeah, Sidney's a fine boy. Sure, he's a smart fella. Papa said he's going to make him quit his job and go to work for you. And it's elegant. Don't forget to tell Doris to call me, huh? All right. What? I'll ask him. Jay.
Yeah, what do you want?
Sam says the meeting couldn't be at 2 o'clock. His lawyer's busy and he couldn't make it till 3.
What do we need with lawyers?
Did you forget you and Sam were splitting?
Oh, yeah, for a minute I forgot.
I'll remind him. Hello, Sam. Papa says never mind the meeting. Yeah. Instead, you and Doris should come to supper tonight. 6 o'clock. Yeah, we're having Sydney. And Papa says you should stop by the office and bring our firm check. Papa's got to have an extra $1,000. He has to buy Sarah some new breakfast pajamas. Oh, Sam, yeah. You do it, huh? Well, all right. We'll see you about 6 o'clock. Yeah, goodbye.
Well, what did he say?
He said he'd bring the check.
Well, what else did he say?
He said never mind the pajamas for Sarah. He'll buy them.
Well. Here's Mama Bloom's Brood. Well, these are certainly exciting times in the Bloom home. Sally, is engaged to Sidney Schiffbane, and Mama Bloom just can't help but be excited. Here she is, just answering the phone.
Hello? Hello, yes, you got the right number. Yeah, I'm surprised, too. Who is it? Oh, Mrs. Rifkin. I didn't recognize your voice. It sounded so plain. I've been trying to call you up for a week. Oh, you have? Atlantic City, huh? Mm-hmm. Ritz Hotel. Ain't you elegant? Did you heard about mine, Sally? Oh, you ain't? Oh, I'm so glad. Sally's engaged to a Mr. Sidney Schiffbane. Well, sure he gave her a ring. Papa paid $200 for it. You must know the Schiffbanes. His Uncle Mo's in the racket business. Yeah, that's the one. Mm-hmm. Who, Sidney? Well, he's in the clothing business with Papa. They've been engaged 8 days. Oh, sometime in a month or so. You'll get an invitation. Mm-hmm. I'm so happy she's getting such a nice fella. And smart. Smart as a viper. Say, he's getting a nice girl, too. Mine Sally could have married anybody. No, she's not here now. She's at cooking school. Yeah. Today they're taking up ham, so she went to our movie. Mm-hmm. Well, come over and see us sometime, huh? Yeah. Goodbye.
Oh, Ma. Ever since Sally's been engaged, you spent the entire day at the phone.
Can I help it if people call up?
But you don't have to talk for an hour to everybody.
Yes, darling. Why can't I get a little pleasure out of Sarah's engagement?
But you don't have to call up everybody in town and tell them.
The more telephone calls I make, the more presents she gets. Honest, though, we have the voice luck. Look at Mr. Shapiro. Her husband's in the jewelry business. If she wants to send a present, she picks it right out of stock. Besides getting it wholesale, they get rid of something they couldn't sell.
Oh, that's not a bad idea either.
And Mrs. Felix, her husband's in the furniture business. They can also work off something they had in stock for a long time.
Remember that lamp she gave Blanche Silver? I bet they had it in stock 12 years.
Well, what's that got to do with us?
Well, look at the business Papa's in. We can't send knee pants as a wedding present. It wouldn't look nice.
Oh, wedding presents aren't everything.
Yes, sir. Then you get married. For all the trouble you're going to have, you might just as well get a few presents. Not that you know after you got the presents that you're going to keep them.
Well, what do you mean?
You remember what happened to Lily Myers?
No, what?
She got engaged to a fella from out of town, and everything went along fine. Until her father looked up his credit rating.
And then what happened?
After her father looked him up, he made her break the engagement.
Well, then what did they do?
She had to give back all the presents.
Oh.
And believe me, I should never stir from this spot if she didn't have over $2,000 for it. Yeah. But here I stand joking with you, and I got a million things to do.
What do you mean, joking?
Yes, sir. Did you think I was serious? What good are wedding presents anyhow? They always give you something you can't use. Last week I went to a wedding, and they had 21 cake knives, and both the bride and the groom are on a diet.
Well, what I meant about talking was not to brag about Sidney, Ma.
What's the matter with Sidney? He's worked for Papa already a week. Has Papa complained?
No, but he hasn't said anything good about him.
What you want Papa to say?
Well, you know Papa. If he was terribly pleased with Sidney, he'd do a little raving himself.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But say, after all, Sidney's only been in the business 1 week. You can't expect him already to be a knee pants wizard.
Oh, here comes Papa.
Oh, it's a little early. I wonder what brings him home so soon.
Hello, Mama.
Hello, Jay. Why are you home so early, darling?
Sam dropped me off in the car.
Uh-huh. Give me your hat and coat. I'll hang it
No,
up.
no, I'll hang it up myself.
When he comes back, ask him about Sidney.
I'll do it.
There's Sarah.
Sally will be home any minute. I think she stopped to pick up Sidney.
Sidney? I have to have him here tonight after having him all day.
Jake, what's the matter?
Sidney is driving me crazy. 4 days he's been there and already the shipping clerk has quit.
What has Sidney got to do with the shipping clerk?
What has Sidney's got to do with everything? Already he's going to put in new systems.
Uh-huh. A deficiency expert, huh?
You mean efficiency?
Call it what you please. I don't want one.
What did he do, Jake?
What didn't he do?
What didn't he do, then?
What he didn't do is what he should have done. And what he did, he should have left alone. Such ideas I never heard in all my life.
What you mean?
Mama, we are in a plain business. We make up boys' knee pants and we sell them.
Sure.
That's all there is to the business. All my life I've been in it and we did it that way and it was all right. We made up a good line of pants. We sold them at a fair price. We made a little profit. We were satisfied and our customers were satisfied.
Well, so what now?
Last Monday came in Sydney. He's been there now 1 week and already he's discovered that everything we've been doing for 10 years is all wrong.
How can it be all wrong? If you've been doing it for 10 years that way and it's been going all right, then it can't be wrong, Jake.
You don't know Sydney. Sydney could get a job with the government, and in 2 days after he was there, he would have them making dollar bills better than they are now and selling them for 75 cents.
Well, Jake, remember, Sidney's young.
He's a young fool. Now he wants us to take stock.
Take stock?
Yeah, thank goodness now we are busy. We got a lot of orders to get out.
What does he want you to do?
He wants everybody should quit getting out orders and start counting everything, and he won't be happy till he knows how many buttons we got in stock.
Well, what good does this do, this taking stock?
Don't ask me, Mama. I am not Sydney.
All right, what good does Sidney say it does?
Sydney says you can't tell whether or not you're making money unless you take stock.
Well, Jake, maybe he's right. Maybe.
Becky, 10 years ago, Sam and I started in this business. We each put up $2,000. For 10 years, we have lived off the business. We got money in the bank. We got a floor full of merchandise, piece goods, and machinery, all paid for. Up to last Monday, I thought we were doing fine.
Well?
Now I discovered, just because I don't know exactly how many buttons we had last Tuesday at 4 o'clock, we are losing money.
Jake, would it hurt you to take stock?
I don't want to take stock.
Sidney's bringing you maybe new ideas.
The old ideas are good enough for me.
Still, he may have one good idea.
Even if it was good, I wouldn't like it.
All right, Jake, all right. Why don't you send him out selling?
I did.
Did he bring back orders?
Oh, yeah, he brought back orders.
You see, maybe that's what he is. He's a salesman.
But I didn't tell you what kind of orders he brought back.
Well, what kind of orders did he bring back?
Listen, Mama. Levy, Cohn and Levy on East 9th Street called up and said we should send over a salesman. They want to buy some blue serge pants.
So what happened?
This was Tuesday. So like a fool, I didn't know I sent over Sidney.
Didn't he bring back a order?
Oh, sure he did. He brought back an order from McDonald and Company of West 175th Street for 10,000 waiters' jackets.
But Jake, you don't make waiters' jackets.
Did that bother Sidney? He said we should make them.
One mistake anybody can make.
One mistake. Thursday, Sam and I went out to lunch, and a man comes in from Washington. Do you think Sidney sold him knee pants?
Did he?
He sold him 100 Army uniforms. And when I explained to him we didn't make Army uniforms, he said that was a good business, too. He said in case of war, who would wear knee pants? Honest, I am getting afraid. Every time Sidney goes out, I don't know what he's going to sell next. I wouldn't be surprised the next time he goes out selling to see him come back with an order for handmade circus tents.
What did you do with the orders, Jake? Are the people good?
The people are A number one, and that's just the trouble. I don't know what to do with the orders. In 1 week, he sold over $4,000 worth of merchandise we don't make.
It shows he can sell.
But why doesn't he sell knee pants?
Why does he say he don't sell them?
He says anybody can sell knee pants. He wants to sell something hard. Now he wants us to enlarge, to take the floor upstairs, put in more machinery, and make everything. Raiders' coats, army uniforms, fancy vests, anything.
After all, somebody makes those things, and if he can get the orders, why don't you?
Mama, I am a knee pants manufacturer, not a dressmaker.
All right, don't get excited, Jake. Where's Sidney now?
Sidney, he didn't want to come home now. I left him in the office.
What was he doing?
What was he doing? He was talking to 5 men.
To 5 men? What was he talking about?
Mama, I don't know. He was in my private office, and he had the door locked.
Maybe it was 5 customers.
They were not customers.
How do you know they weren't customers?
After 10 years in the business, I know what a customer looks like.
Then what could he be talking to them about?
Don't ask me, Mom. If it was Sam, I would know. But Sidney, I've known only 1 week, and already I can tell you that with Sidney, there are no rules.
Well, we'll soon find out enough.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Only one thing I know. Whatever he was talking about, it wasn't knee pants. And whatever he was doing, it means trouble for me.
Give him a chance.
Give him a chance, and he'll drive me out of business.
Maybe you're looking at the black lining. Say, he couldn't be wrong all the time. Maybe this time he's doing something smart.
Becky, I hope you are right. But I'm afraid of that boy. He's got too many ideas. Oh, Vesemir, what can he be doing? The later he stays, the more trouble there'll be.
He'll be home in a minute, and we'll find out.
I'm getting so every time I don't see him for 5 minutes, I'm scared to ask him what he's been doing.
Say, what time are we going to eat? I've got a date for tonight.
We'll eat as soon as Sally and Sidney come, darling.
Say, I just heard the car come up.
Has he got the car?
Yeah, he's using our car.
Oh.
He says I can ride with Sam.
Oh, that's a fine...
Hello, folks. Are we late?
Oh, no,
Hello, Sally.
it's all right, Sarah. But I wish you'd get home after this by 6 o'clock. You know Papa gets hungry.
Tonight, Mama, I'm not hungry.
We would have been home earlier, but Sidney had a big conference.
You see, I told you.
What did he have a conference about?
Go ahead and tell them, Sidney. I think it's wonderful.
Oh, there's a couple of little details I have to work out yet.
I can't understand you being bothered by little details.
Oh, that's what the machinery man said.
The machinery man? What's the matter? Did some of our machinery break?
No, the machinery man I ordered the new machinery from. He said I had...
You ordered new machinery?
$16,300 worth. That's not bad. The man said
Sidney, for who did you order this machinery?
Why, for the firm, of course.
You ordered machinery for the firm?
Now, don't worry, Pop. It's all attended to. Sidney signed the order, and he went upstairs with the real estate man and showed him just where he wanted the floor braced so they could install the machinery.
Upstairs? Has the factory got an upstairs, Jake?
Sure, I just leased the 2 upper floors. I got them for $9,000 a year by making a 10-year lease. It was lucky you left a couple of blank signed checks.
What did you do with the checks?
I gave them each a deposit of $1,000.
A deposit of Sidney, please. I'm asking you. Do me a favor. Before I drop dead, will you explain to me what are you doing
Now,
up there?
listen, Dad, listen. If we're going into the uniform business, we've got to go into it right. No petty larceny business for me.
Wait a minute. Who is going into the uniform business?
We are. Do you realize how many soldiers there are in this country alone?
But
Do you realize that every state has a National Guard? Do you realize that every high school in this United States of ours has a cadet corps that averages in number 212 3/4 men?
Well, look,
Do you realize that the average life of a uniform is 4 months and 5 days, to say nothing of all the foreign countries that all use from 1 to 10 uniforms per man?
But
To say nothing of officers' uniforms. Then there's postmen's uniforms, streetcar conductors, elevator boys, bellboys, ushers.
I think ushers have the prettiest uniforms.
Sure, there's millions to be made there. Don't tell me you hate money.
Get me an aspirin, somebody. I'm seasick.
You're going to make Vader's coats too, aren't you?
Sure. We're going to make every kind of clothing in the world, except one.
What's that?
Knee pants.
Well, here's Mama Bloom's Brood. Through the efforts of Sidney Schiffbane, Papa and his partner Sam find themselves in the business of making uniforms. Mama doesn't visit the office very often, but here she is today, just entering Sidney's new and extremely spacious office.
Hello, Mrs. Bloom. Welcome to the new offices.
Now, Sidney, don't be so informal. Call me Ma.
Okay, Ma. I was kind of saving that until after Sally and I were married.
That's all right, Sidney. You start calling me Mama right away.
Well, what do you think of the place?
It's elegant.
Yeah, these are the swellest offices in New York.
Oh, it's beautiful, just like a moving picture. It's so beautiful that with an office like this, you should have some other place to do your work in. It's a shame to mess up a lovely place like this.
Yeah, this is all modernistic furniture, the latest thing.
That's a beautiful desk.
That's not a desk, Ma. That's a chair.
A chair, a desk, it's beautiful. But how can you sit down in it?
Well, you sit down here. Look. Yeah, this way.
Yeah, but you sleep off.
I know it's not very comfortable, but that's the style. Hey, look, isn't this a lovely filing cabinet?
Filing cabinet?
Yeah, you keep your files in here.
In a beautiful office like this, why must you have tools?
No, not that kind of files, Ma. Paper files.
Paper files are something new to me. What time is it, Sidney?
10 minutes to 5.
Where's Papa and Sam?
Well, they're downstairs fooling around with the knee pants department. Honest, Ma, I can't figure those two guys out. Here I put them in a swell business making uniforms where they get a chance to clean up millions. And most of the time they're downstairs monkeying with knee pants. I've been trying to get them to give up the knee pants business, but that's the only thing they won't stand for.
Listen, Sidney. 1 week ago you ordered thousands of dollars worth of machinery. You rented extra floors. Papa was going to kill you, but I talked him into giving you a chance.
Yeah, I know.
Now you got to give Papa a chance. He'll stand for anything. No one's got a heart like Papa. But you can even turn a worm on the wrong side. And when you try to take Papa out of the knee pants business, you're taking our baby away from Candy.
Well, what does he like about the knee pants business?
Call it a pet, call it what you please, he likes it. Sue him.
Well, I did my best. If he wants to waste time on it, there's nothing I can do.
Sidney, Sarah's calling for you?
Yeah, she ought to be here any minute.
Maybe you'll come to supper, huh? They're having a swell dinner.
Well, it's all right with me if Sally wants to.
Sally wants to, all right. Says she's still my daughter. And if I say she'll want to come home to dinner, she'll have to want to.
Well, we'll come to dinner then if you make it a little late. I got to go out and see a fella, and I'm just waiting for Sally to come here so I can see her before I go.
What do you need from Sally?
Well, nothing exactly.
Then you go ahead, and we'll wait here for you.
All right, I'll only be about 10 minutes.
Hello, Sidney.
Hello.
Hello, Ma.
Hello, Yvette.
What's Sidney rushing about?
Sidney's a big businessman now. He's got no time to be saying hello. He's very busy.
Well, what's he very busy about?
I don't know. When you're a big businessman, you don't tell. You just go around being very busy.
There's Sidney.
He just went out.
I've got to find him.
He said he'd be back in a minute. What should I tell him?
What? You should tell him I'm sorry I ever saw him.
What kind of talk is that? Have you lost your mind?
Yes, I've lost my mind.
You're talking in riddles.
When you're talking in riddles, it costs nothing. But when you're doing business in riddles, that's something else again.
Well, what has Sidney done?
Why are you always picking on the boy, Papa?
Becky, you don't understand.
Why not? I understand riddles, too.
For 20 years, I was in the knee pants business. I was happy. And one day, somebody opened up the door, and in blew Sidney. And the first thing I know, I'm a uniform manufacturer.
Isn't he getting orders?
Don't ask me. Orders, smarters. I've got to keep busy in the knee pants business so I can make enough money for him to spend in the uniform factory.
Well, what are you so mad about now?
What, she asks me. For 4 days, I haven't been in the uniform factory, and Sam is on the road selling, so he hasn't been in there either.
Yeah?
A half an hour ago, I accidentally walked into the uniform department, and what do you think I found?
Tell me.
I found that Sidney had just made up 1,328 beautiful uniforms.
Isn't that fine?
It's delicious.
Well, what are you complaining for?
Wait a minute, I haven't told you yet.
Well, tell me then.
1,328 beautiful uniforms of expensive goods, with the finest buttons, and such workmanship you've never seen in your whole life.
Didn't I tell you? Sidney's a natural uniform man.
Mama, let me finish or I'll go crazy. Mama, every uniform is bright red.
Bright red?
Bright red? Well, who are they for?
Who can they be for? Who has got bright red soldiers?
In Russia, they got bright red soldiers.
Russia don't buy uniforms from us. Even Sidney hasn't ever been to Russia.
What can the reason be? Why did he make bright red uniforms?
The only reason I can figure out. Last week, Sidney told me he bought a job lot of goods for uniforms at 25 cents on the dollar. But how could I guess it was red?
Listen, Papa, maybe red's a good color for soldier uniforms. It won't show blood. It's an invention.
Here's the bill, Mama. Take a look at it. Take a good look. 6,000 yards at 15 cents a yard. $900. Labor, buttons, cutting, incidentals, at least $3 a uniform. That's $3,900. Add it up and you get $4,800 Sydney has spent. And what have we got for it? What have we got for it?
There must
Red
be some
uniforms.
reason, Papa. Even Sydney wouldn't do it. Otherwise, maybe they're samples.
1,300 samples? All red?
Oh, I know what they are. They're moving picture ushers' uniforms.
Moving picture ushers. What theater has got 1,300 ushers?
Today, they're building pretty big theaters.
Oh, Becky, there's no use. Even if they are building big theaters, still, 1,300 ushers, no theaters got.
You can't tell, Jake. Maybe in the new style theaters, they're going to make the customers wear uniforms.
Oh, Becky, you're talking nonsense.
Sure, I'm talking nonsense. Don't you know why?
No.
I'm talking nonsense to you, Jake, so you won't get apoplexy worrying to yourself.
What do you want me to do, Mama? Put on a red uniform and dance for you?
I want you should not get excited till Sidney comes back. He said he'd be back in a few minutes, and when he comes back, he'll tell you what he wants red uniforms for.
When he comes back, I'm going to put on one of the red uniforms, and I'm going to kill him. I'll make him wear one of the red uniforms, too, and then the blood won't show.
Don't talk about killing, Papa. Are you a murderess?
Murderer, Ma, not murderess.
Yeah, darling, you're right. The murderess is the wife of a murderer. Jake, don't make me a murderess.
$4,800. $4,800 he throws away, and I can't even kill him.
Wait till you hear what Sidney says. There are two sides, even to our red uniform.
Hello, folks. Where's Sidney?
Do me a favor, please. Don't ask about Sidney.
Sarah, take Yet in the other room. Your papa's feeling a little blood thirsty.
Red uniforms, red uniforms.
Be careful, Jake. You'll break your blood vestibules.
Blood vessels, Mom.
Go into the other room, I tell you.
But I only want to
Please, girls, do as Papa says, eh?
All right. Come on, Yetta.
Where is Sidney? Where is Sidney? If he's coming back, why doesn't he come back?
He can't come back before he gets here, can he?
He could hurry, couldn't he? Besides, whenever Sidney is away, I'm worried. I don't know what he's doing, but I know it's going to cost me money.
Papa, 1,000,000 times I've asked you, give the boy a chance. Everybody knows our son-in-law costs you money. It's a luxury like Grand Opera.
Grand Opera? I can walk out on Grand Opera, but who can walk out on Sidney?
Who's talking about me?
Oh, sit down, Sidney, sit down. We've got to have a little talk.
No, I'm sorry, Dad. I'm busy. Haven't got time to sit down and talk.
You'll sit down. I'm asking you for the last time.
Sit down, Sidney.
I tell you, I'm very busy.
Papa wants to have a confidence.
Well, all right. Just for a minute, though.
Sidney, before I choke you to death, tell me, what are the red uniforms for?
Oh, the red uniforms.
Yes, the red uniforms. Tell me quick.
Ah, they're beautiful, aren't they? You never saw anything like those uniforms. Did you see them, Ma?
No, but Papa told me about them.
Boy, they're the stuff. And nobody but me would ever make up that color goods in the uniforms. I'll bet if you'd show them to anybody in the world, they'd laugh themselves to death.
Yeah, Papa saw them and he didn't laugh, not even one chuckle.
And that certainly was a crazy idea of mine, wasn't it?
Now that you've got them, what are you going to do with them, Sidney?
Nothing.
Nothing? You're going to do nothing with them? Nothing at all? Oh, I'm dying.
Jake, don't die. It's very dangerous.
Well, there's nothing you can do with them. They're perfect the way they are. Besides, the guy's crazy about them.
Sidney, what guy?
The guy who ordered them. I just took him over a sample and he gave me a check. $11 a piece net. Here you are, Dad. Certified check for $14,600 even. I gave him $8 off for cash.
But, you sold him?
Sure, I sold him.
Who would buy red uniforms?
I've been trying to tell you. They're a special order for the Presidential Guard of some South American country. And that's a sweet profit, Pop. About $8,000.
But look, if he likes them so well, why didn't you charge him $12 apiece? It's such a beautiful color, red.
I didn't want to do that on account of the rest of the business.
Oh, the red. Has he got more soldiers?
Oh, about 10 or 12,000 more.
10 or 12. And they've all got to have uniforms.
3 apiece. 2 for drill and 1 for dress uniforms.
When Sidney gets to talking with him, they'll have 6 uniforms apiece.
I'm figuring with the guy now for a price on 250,000 uniforms.
250,000? Say, tell me, how long has this uniform business been going on?
They've always worn uniforms by the millions.
Yeah, and you've been making knee pants, Papa. Boy.
250,000 uniforms.
You could give it to him different colors, huh? Maybe he'd like an assortment.
And if I can sell him, I can sell all those other South American countries.
Yeah, say, give me a pencil on a piece of paper. Quick.
Papa, what you figuring?
Sidney, how many soldiers did you say there are in South America?
Oh, 1 million anyhow.
1 million? 6 uniforms? 6 million uniforms at the D? Say, at only $7 a piece profit.
I gotta get back and see this guy now. I'm taking him to dinner, and he's bringing along the Minister of War.
They make war with our preacher.
No, that's just his title. Anyhow, I'm taking him to dinner.
Maybe they'd like to come up to the house for dinner.
Oh, Sidney, have you got enough money to take them to dinner?
Oh, that's right. Hey, you better give me a couple of $100.
$200 for dinner?
Sidney, what you going to have for dinner? Goldfish?
No, but I don't want to run short.
Sidney, take $150. If voice comes to voice, you can do without toothpick.
Now, I'll go in and tell Sally. Pop, you get me the check ready, huh?
Papa, what can they eat for $150? Even if they didn't have lunch.
Mama, I'm going to make it 200. Sidney knows what he's doing.
You think Sidney's a smart fella, huh?
A smart fella? Sure, he's a smart fella. Take a look at this check, Mama.
Maybe he's a lucky fella.
Nah, it's better to be smart.
When you're lucky, you don't have to be smart.
Mama, you're talking through your head.
I know what I'm talking about, Papa. Two fellas are standing by a river. The smart fella, he don't fall in. The lucky fella, he falls in, and he comes up with a fish in one hand and a rowboat in the other. Look at Christopher Columbus. Who knows whether or not he was smart? He takes a boat and he starts sailing.
So what?
So he was lucky, and he found a country called the United States, which was so lucky that 250 years later, you made $9,000 profit on red uniforms.
Well. Here's Mama Bloom's brood. Another evening in the Bloom home. Mama and the two girls are present, but apparently Yetta won't be for long. She's dressed in street clothes, and as she rushes toward the front door, she says,
Goodbye, Ma. Goodbye, Sally.
Watch your rush.
Well, I'm late now.
Where are you going?
Oh, no place in particular.
If you're going to no place in particular, how can you be late?
Well, we want to get started, Ma.
Every night you go out. But it hurts you one night to stay home. I don't know what's the matter with girls. They worry you to death until you fix up a nice home. The minute you get it fixed up, they never stay in it.
Oh, I'm home a lot.
You're home a lot. When did you spend the evening here? Last night? Night before last?
Oh, I was home a week ago Sunday night.
Why didn't you remind me? I would have bought you a medal.
Well, what am I going to do if I stay home?
I stay home. What do I do?
Oh, it's different with you.
What's different with me? Am I a vegetable?
Oh, you're married.
Sally's been home now 3 nights, and she hasn't even got a fever. So you see, even if you ain't married, staying home don't kill you.
Oh, she's only home because Sidney's out of town. Oh, you don't really want me to stay home, do you, Ma?
No, go ahead. If you'd stay home, you'd drive me crazy. But still, it wouldn't hurt you.
Oh, let her go, Ma.
Even if you go out, you could be home by 12 o'clock.
Oh, now there's no fun going out if I have to time myself. I no more than get started than I have to keep looking at my watch to see that I don't stay 1 minute after 12.
You remember what happened to Cinderella? She stayed out after 12, and she turned into a pinch of salt.
Where's Papa?
He's shaving. What do you want with him?
I'd like to have $1.
Here's $1. Don't bother Papa.
Oh, thanks. Goodbye.
Remember? 12 o'clock and not a minute later.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye. Why do you make her come in at 12 o'clock, Ma?
12 o'clock's late enough.
If I ever have a daughter, believe me, she can stay out as late as she pleases.
That's what you say now.
No, I mean it. If I have a daughter and she wants to stay out until 2 or 3 in the morning, it's okay with me.
Wait until you have a daughter.
It'll be just the same then. What's the difference?
You'll find out.
Well, tell me.
Sarah, it's like this. Everybody's very broad-minded when it don't cost them anything. If somebody's driving an automobile and they hit the car in front of you and scratch it all up, that's an accident, and it couldn't be helped. But if they hit your car and put one scratch on the paint, then they're crazy drivers and should be put in jail. Right now, you don't own an automobile, so traffic laws to you mean nothing. Pretty soon, if you get an automobile, then everybody should take driving lessons.
Oh, I don't know.
Right now, you haven't got a daughter, so she can stay out all night. But when you get a daughter, then she'll have to be home at 8 o'clock.
I think you're wrong, Mom.
I thought my mother was wrong, too. And when she was my age, she probably used to fight every night with my grandmother about the same thing.
Oh, people have changed.
No, people don't change. No, Sally, everything changes, but people stay the same. Dresses get shorter, dresses get longer. People used to ride on horses, now they ride on airplanes. But they're still the same people. If you stick a pin in them, they cry just like they used to. You tell them a joke and they still laugh. It's human natural.
Oh, that's almost exactly what Shakespeare said.
Well, then Shakespeare was right.
Oh, I don't care if he was right or not.
What's the matter with you, Monkey?
Oh, Sidney.
What did Sidney do?
I didn't hear from him yesterday. Only one letter.
You'll hear from him today.
Ma, you don't suppose he could have been in an accident, do you?
No, don't be silly.
Well, maybe some automobile hit him.
No automobile would dare run into Sidney.
Well, I can't understand why I haven't heard from him.
Maybe he's busy.
Well, he shouldn't be too busy to call me up. If he really loved me, he'd put me ahead of business.
That ain't so, Sarah. I don't care how much he loves you. Still, he's got to tend up business first.
Well, how do you figure that?
Love, my child, don't mean sitting around telling you how beautiful you are, or standing under your window playing on a saxophone.
Standing under my window? Playing?
Yeah, sure. It's called by some woman's name. Serenading, I think.
Oh, you mean serenading, Ma.
They'll have it your way, serenading. If a man really loves a girl, he wants to get out and make good business. So she should have the nicest things. That's more important to him than making her compliments all day long. He wants her to have the best. And he can't get it for her if he stands under a window where it don't do no good. And besides, he might catch cold.
Oh, maybe you're right, but I still wish he'd call up or something.
I do, too. That's one thing I like about Sidney. He tends to business. Everybody knows that now, even Papa. Why don't you ask Papa if he's heard from him?
Well, I'm afraid to mention Sidney's name to Papa. I never know how he's going to take it.
I'll ask him. Jake,
Yeah?
are you finished shaving?
I cut myself. I'm bleeding.
Well, stop bleeding and come in.
All right, Mama. Hell, here I am. What do you want?
Jake, do you have to bleed on my best towel?
Well, what can I do, Mama? I'm bleeding.
Put on some peroxygen of iodine and come on in.
You mean peroxide of hydrogen,
Put
Ma.
on some medicine.
Did you ask me to come in so I could bleed for you personally?
No, Papa. Where is Sidney today?
Sidney? Am I a mind reader? I could tell you where he was yesterday. Yes, I could tell you where he was. But I couldn't tell you why he went there or what he was doing after he got there.
How do you know where he was?
He wired in to send him $200.
I know. He wanted to take somebody to lunch.
Lunch. Other people can do business in sample rooms, hotel lobbies, in club rooms, or golf courses, but not Sidney. Sidney can only do business when he's eating.
Yeah, he's a food salesman. Is he sending in orders?
No, Mama. Sidney don't send in orders. He does business different.
He sold the red uniform.
One order doesn't mean a season's business.
Papa, where did you send the money?
I sent it to Philadelphia.
Barrett in Philadelphia. It's a big place.
The care of the telegraph company.
Did he get it?
Sure he got it. Who don't get $200 if it's waiting for him?
Well, I can't understand the whole thing.
Don't worry. We'll hear from him tomorrow. He'll want some more lunch money.
I'd like to hear from him tonight.
Maybe he'll call up yet.
When he does, I'll tell him a thing or two.
That wouldn't do.
Why not?
He's calling you up, so it'll be to him a pleasure, and you're going to make it our duty. Don't take the enjoyment out of anything and then expect a man to like it.
Oh, why don't you practice what you preach, Mama?
Jake, I do all the time.
Not with me.
You don't look so abused.
You know how much I enjoy driving an automobile, and the minute I start, you start giving me orders so that there's no pleasure in driving.
Must I be killed so that you can have a good time?
How many times was you killed, Mama?
Even once I wouldn't like it.
Well, wait till you're killed and then holler.
All this isn't settling where Sidney is.
There is no law that we must find Sidney tonight.
Well, he'll turn up all right. And when he does, he'll have a story that's worth waiting for.
I'll answer it. Maybe it's Sidney.
Yeah, maybe he's out of money.
You sent $200 at noon.
$200? To Sidney, $200 is tips.
Oh, hello, Sam.
Hello, Becky. Hello, Jake.
Hello, Sam. Is something the matter?
Where's Sidney?
Another one.
I thought maybe Sally would know.
Sally ain't heard from him.
I got to find him right away.
Oh, I'm getting so sick of the name of Sidney.
We got to find him tonight.
Why do you have to find him tonight?
I just saw in the paper. There's a meeting tomorrow in Washington of that board. They buys uniforms.
I thought that was next week.
It was pushed up a week, and all the salesmen have to be there at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning with samples.
But couldn't you go or me? We did business before we ever heard of Sidney.
Not uniform business, Jake.
But we could try.
It wouldn't do no good. You don't know what the goods cost. You don't know what they cost to make up. You don't know any details.
Well, couldn't we look it up?
Sure, if we had time. But we couldn't look it up, figure it out, and be in Washington at 9 o'clock in the morning ready to do business. I tell you, we got to find Sidney right away.
Oh, Sidney Schmidney. I wish Sidney had never been invented.
Wishing won't do any good. We got to find him.
And even if you find him, how do you know he could sell the order?
That much I'll give Sidney credit for. If he's in Washington and they let him talk, he'll sell them uniforms for soldiers that ain't even born yet.
Still, if we can't find him, what good is it?
Why don't you try looking for him?
Becky, will you stop, please? Here we are going crazy and you're making wisecracks.
Going crazy won't help any. Going sensible will.
You. Sam.
Yes?
Did you try the hotel?
I called up every hotel in Philadelphia. That's what makes me so late. I had the long-distance operator start with the A's and go through the whole list of hotels.
Well, what did she say?
He wasn't registered in any hotel.
Did you try the telegraph company where the money was wired?
Sure, he collected the money, and they haven't seen him since.
Maybe he was held up and robbed.
If anybody held up Sidney, he could talk them out of it and borrow their revolver besides.
I don't know what to do.
Me either. Here's an order of maybe thousands of dollars. And just because Sidney hides in Philadelphia, we gotta lose it.
You ain't lost it yet.
Well, I don't see how we can help losing it.
So if you find Sidney, you get the order?
20 years I've been married to you, and for the first time, Mama, for the first time, you're right.
Then it's very simple. All we have to do is to find Sidney.
Well, what do you think we've been talking about for the last half hour?
The trouble is you've been talking, but not doing anything.
All right, Mama, you do something.
I'll do the best I can.
Even if we could find him, there's no train to get him there in time.
First find him, and then worry about the next one.
I'm going home. It's no use.
Sam, don't give up so quick.
Becky, do you know where Sidney is?
No.
Then don't aggravate
But
me.
if you don't get so excited, I'll do the best I can. What time is it?
Time? 6 o'clock sharp. What's that got to do with it?
Let it try.
Oh, what good will it do? If we can't find him, how will she find him?
What harm can it do?
All right. Go ahead, if only to prove that you don't know what you're talking about.
All right. Jake, dial me Maine 4931.
Who is Maine 4931?
Mrs. Fink.
Fink? I'm looking for Sidney in Philadelphia, and she calls up Mrs. Fink in New York.
Jake, dial me the number.
But how would she know where Sidney was?
Jake, please, you'll dial her.
All right. All right, Mama, here you are.
Hello. Mrs. Fink. How are you? This is Becky Bloom. How you feeling? Thank you. We're all right, too. Yeah. You must come over sometime. What you doing Tuesday?
Hey, will you stop using so many words and
It's
find
all
out
right,
where Sidney is? Sidney.
Mrs. Fink, what is your brother-in-law Isidore's last name and the phone number at the store? Oh, Mendel. Mendel, huh? Chestnut 2222. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Look, darling, Paul, call me up sometime, huh? Yeah, goodbye.
Well, Mama, well.
Long distance?
Long distance?
Long distance, give me Chestnut 2222. Philadelphia. Yeah. All right, I'll hold the wire.
Mama, who are you calling long distance?
Sidney, Jack.
All right.
Hello? Mendel? Is Mr. Sidney Schiffman there? He is, huh? Will you please call him to the phone?
Yeah.
All right, I'll hang on. There you are, Papa.
But how did you know he was there? What is this place?
That's Mendel's, the best kosher restaurant in Philadelphia.
Yes, but how did you know he was there?
It's time to eat. It's 6 o'clock, and I just figured out where I would go if I was Sidney, and I called up, and there he was.